Hello everyone and welcome. This is Medina Hashim from OTO English, and today we're going to talk about the IELTS test. What is IELTS? IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and this is basically a test that's has been around since 1989, and it's developed by Cambridge University. Now, the IELTS test is a proficiency English test, which means that it measures your skills in the language. Which skills exactly? The four major skills of any language, which are speaking, listening, writing, and reading. Okay? Now, we have several types of tests. BBT, paper-based test, CBT, computer-based test, IBT, which is internet-based test. IELTS is PBT, paper-based test. But recently, they started a new version, CBT, or computer-based test. Now, the test is almost the same, whether it's for the paper-based or the computer-based. The four skills are measured in the same way, which is what? We're going to talk about the components of the test and the components of each section of the test. First of all, speaking. Speaking is done separately from the rest of the tests. Normally, it's either a day before, a day after, or even on the same day, but at a different time. Speaking is a live interview with an examiner, one-to-one, and you get to be asked a few questions, all right? It's not the questions actually that really matters, but your answers or how you respond to each question. Now, the speaking lasts between 11 minutes up to 15 minutes, and we have 3 tasks. Task 1, interview questions, just like warmer. You know, the examiner starts asking questions about you, your work, your life, your interests, anything related to you basically, for 4 to 5 minutes. Then they move to the second task, which is a cue card. What is a cue card? It's just a simple piece of paper, and there's a question written there. It starts with describe or talk about, okay? And you're supposed to talk about something out of 4. Either they ask you to describe a person, an event, a place, or an item. Okay? You get 1 minute to prepare your answer, and then you deliver your answer in about 2 minutes. Then you move to task 3, which is a discussion. Normal discussion has a topic, and it's similar in its structure to the interview questions, like question, answer, question, answer. However, it has a topic which is related to the topic of the cue card. Now, there are several techniques, of course, in answering each question that we'll talk about later. Now, you're done. The speaking section is over. We move on to the test itself. On the day of the test, whatever that is, whether it's after the speaking or before the speaking test, as we said, okay, you get to sit down and you have 3 sections. Start with the listening test. The listening test is around 30 minutes. Okay, you get to listen to 4 listening passages. You have about 30 minutes to answer around 40 questions, okay, related to the listening passages you listen to. Now, we have 4 listening tasks. Task 1, it's a dialogue, all right, and it takes place in a general setting, like everyday setting. And you hear 10 questions related to this passage and you answer. Then move to task 2, which is a monologue. Also takes place in a general setting. Okay, like someone speaking on the radio, or someone basically giving instructions in a gallery or something like that. And you answer 10 questions. Then you move to the academic part. Hold on. There is general and academic? Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. The IELTS has 2 versions, academic test and general test. Okay, what is the difference? Well, there's no much difference actually. The only difference between them is the type of the reading questions and task 1 in writing, and that's it. Why do I need general for and academic for? Well, if you decide to immigrate, for example, well, you need general IELTS. But if you're going to study, then you need academic IELTS. and that's it. Is the scoring different? No, it's the same. The scoring system in IELTS go from band 0 to band 9. This is what it's called, band score. And you're supposed to know why you need the test for and which band you need in order to focus. Now, can we get back to the listening? Okay. As we said, the listening is for everyone, whether you take the general test or the academic test. 2 tasks, 1 and 2, are for general or of a general nature. 3 and 4 are of academic nature. 3 is a conversation takes place on campus regarding an academic topic, while the final task is the lecture. Any topic that you can even think of in any field of science. Again, you need to pay attention to something really important here. This is not a knowledge test. You're not testing your knowledge or your academic, background or anything. You just test your ability to listen and to answer questions. After the listening, you move on to the reading. As I just said, reading is different between academic and general based on the type of the reading passage themselves, but mostly the same structure, same number of questions. We have 3 to 4 reading passages and around 40 questions. Okay? Now, you get all the papers with you, the reading passages and the answer sheet, and you just read and answer questions. For how long? For an hour. Yes, this is one of the long tasks in IELTS. Then you finish the reading and you move on to the final part, writing. Writing is also long, it's an hour, and you have 2 tasks. I just mentioned also that task 1 is different, between general IELTS and academic IELTS. If you're taking general IELTS, then you'll be required to write a letter. But if you're taking academic IELTS, you'll be required to write a report. After this, you move on to task 2, which is the same for both, writing an essay. Okay? The requirements for each is different, of course. As I said, the writing test is an hour. 20 minutes out of 60 minutes for task 1, whether the letter or the report, depends which test are you taking. You're supposed to write at least 150 words in task 1, then move on to task 2, which lasts for 40 minutes. And you're supposed to write an essay of 250 words at least. Okay? Now, you get the papers, but they don't actually give you the timeline, this is 20 minutes, you have to finish this and move to that. No. They just give you all the papers, whether task 1 or 2, all of them together, and it's up to you to divide your time. Now, this is basically the structure of the test. But what do you do within it and the techniques for each part of them, this is a different story.